It's the 12th of August 2022 and Kenya has not yet decided who is going to be the president for the next 5 years. Of course, that leaves the whole East African region in a hang. And we do have Postscript today, which is a segment that we are introducing, a way of looking at one of the biggest stories that do make rounds in the course of the week. And when you look at the Daily Monitor this morning, Raila or Ruto, just hours to declaration, but these hours are overstretching and stretching. Yeah, we understand that according to the electoral laws, they do have the privilege of up to 7 days, something I wish we have in Uganda. Anyway, at the end of the day, Kenya has had a peaceful election, no doubt about that. You and I do agree about that, and it's been largely applauded by so many, especially some of our Ugandan observers that have been on ground in Kenya, and the media has been pulling creative strings to keep people posted. Many of you have been going to some of these Kenyan media houses via could be audio, visual, or even online to get the reports that they were giving you about the tallying from the different tallying centers. And so it's been something that has been an open election. We can say fair, and we can say largely peaceful. And of course, we do have senior reporter from the NTV under our umbrella company, NMG, and that is Senior Jingo Francis, who gets to join us. Now, this man is well versed when it comes to the East African community regional affairs, including the politics of the region. And so we're delighted to have his wealth of knowledge joining us for the Postscript. Good morning to you, Jingo.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm okay.
So how does it feel to be on the other side when you're the one being interviewed?
Yeah, it's very interesting this morning. Thank you for inviting me on this show.
You're most welcome.
Okay, all right. Now, from a journalistic point of view, Jingo, could you paint us a picture of Kenyan elections? I see you every single day keenly following them, and we want to know exactly how you as a journalist feel and have observed with the Kenyan elections versus our recent elections in Uganda.
I think before I go into looking at what has been happening in Kenya and what has happened before, I would first want to give you our Ugandan perspective of covering elections as journalists. Personally, I started covering elections in 2001. 2000 elections, that's the time when I was still a student at the university. And I was attached by the media house I was working for by then. I was attached to cover Chapa Karuhanga. I don't know whether some of you know Chapa Karuhanga.
I know Chapa Karuhanga.
Chapa Karuhanga was a presidential candidate, and I was attached to Chapa Karuhanga. But my bosses to decide to deploy me to cover a presidential candidate resulted from the campaigns that had started in 2001 at Makerere University when the President Museveni came to campaign at Makerere University, and that was the first time I witnessed violent campaigns. President Museveni came to campaign at the university. That was the time when the campaigns were a bit at a high peak, and students started throwing stones at the president, and it was a very horrible scene. Some students were arrested. If I can remember, some of the students who were arrested by then was Odonga Oto and his group. Another one was called Makmota, and many others. There were about 20 students. They were arrested, detained at Uganda Road Court, Uganda Road at CPS, and they were taken to Uganda Road Court, and then later the president ordered for them to be released. So that was the first time when I was beginning to see violent campaigns in Uganda, and that's what it has been since 2001. As journalists, we have witnessed violent campaigns, and that's what we cover. In Kenya, if I am to take you to Kenya, it's a bit different. Yet, yes, we can say in the previous elections, they have had violent campaigns. The campaigns have been okay in most cases, but when it comes to announcing the results, that's when it becomes violent. There are lessons to learn. This time round, we have not seen violent campaigns in Kenya, and I think that's a lesson Ugandans should learn from what has happened in Kenya. Up to now, it is still relatively peaceful. though there is a lot of tension. People are waiting to hear who is the winner. But of course, by now, as we know, the Electoral Commission of Kenya, I would say, I'm very sure they already know who is the winner of this election, because they have a system that uploads the outcome of the elections from the polling, each and every polling station, to online on their online system. So if you are first in counting the numbers, then people know, those who are first in counting the numbers already know who is the winner. But the challenge is that the media houses are facing a challenge that probably don't have the manpower to be able to count faster. Others are ahead of others, and that is causing anxiety in Kenya and speculation. Supporters of Ruto think they have won. Supporters of Raila Odinga think they have won, and that is not good for Kenya as of now.
Okay. All right. Allow me to follow up in reference to 2021 general elections. As a journalist, journalists were one of those people that had to face brutality, had to face hostility, especially during the campaigns and post-elections. And I know that you have interacted a lot with journalists that are covering the Kenyan election. And so what's your assessment, and what lessons can we pick in respect of journalism as a fourth estate to some of these things that aid democracy, such as elections?
Yeah, I have... See, as I said, from 2001, I have been covering all these sets of elections, about 5 of them. In Uganda, the journalists attached to presidential candidates have been accused, I would say, and they tend to be, the security tend to think they are either campaigners of those political candidates. If you attach to, say, Besigye, people begin to see you as a member of FDC. If you attach to NRM, people begin to perceive you as an NRM supporter. But I don't think that is what it is. Although humanly, sometimes we are taken up by emotions of these political candidates. And the challenge journalists face is failing to understand what took them to cover that political candidate, and also the challenges that political candidates face. You know, they have like a script. You know, they have a manifesto that they are supposed to tell the people.
That's right.
And the challenges that journalists are facing is that a candidate begins to campaign from day one, and his role is to tell his story. His role is to tell his manifesto to the electorates. Now, it becomes very difficult for me as a journalist to begin to write a story, the same story
that is being told by the
same story that is being told by the candidate. and my experience of covering elections is that when you are covering elections, you need to move away from what the script of a political candidate, and then begin to look out what the people want in that particular area. For instance, if you are covering elections in Karamoja, President Museveni is in Karamoja, you have to look out what are the needs of the people in Karamoja. The president will tell them, I am going to construct for you roads, I am going to construct for you schools, I am going to construct for you hospitals. But the real needs of the people on the ground may be different. So those are the things that you have to look out for and put them. Sometimes journalists, we have to rewrite the manifesto of the candidates.
All right.
Yes.
All right. In light of what's happening in Kenya and the kind of spotlight that the media houses find themselves in, it's a bit of a misnomer, the fact that they do relay the information. Right now, they find themselves that they actually are the point of reference for the rest of the world. For example, we know that some media houses in Kenya are aligned to some of these alliances, and the way they broadcast and somehow they could be looked at as broadcasting those constituencies where their supposedly the preferred candidate is, and that could create a bit of a problem, especially going into the post announcement phase, and that is feared to be the most critical aspect, when either the electorate will accept the result, and if they don't, how does the media come in to ensure that there is calm and everything is restored in terms of avoiding the kind of chaos that... Do you see the capacity of the media to move away from what is now an attachment to the results to be a force that shall ensure calm and peace for Kenya, in case there is, for example, no acceptance from one of the candidates?
I think the media in Kenya is a test this time around, much as they have tried to play it cool, and I think they have done a good job in my assessment. They have done a good job, but they are a test because what we are seeing is that most of them are giving different results. And that is results from the manpower that they have, capacity to be able to deliver the results on their platforms.
And I think Mr. Chebukati has come out very clearly to say, do not please put them in an uncomfortable position. But let me ask, the logistical nightmare, so to speak, when it came to the election time, we saw so many media houses preparing. Some of them have actually been able to fit the bill and roll out a massive human resource blanket to cover these elections. And it's a challenge for Ugandan media houses when we come into elections and the amount of resources and logistics that we deploy. Do you see the media in Uganda learning from what Kenya is doing, especially when it comes to, breaking the bank in order to bring the news to the people?
Definitely, I would speak for NTV, my experience working with NTV for all these years. I think managers of NTV have to learn how they have to learn from what has happened in Kenya. Right. We are a sister station to NTV Kenya. And the challenges that NTV Kenya is facing now should be a lesson to us that if we are going into the next elections, they should pick the experiences that NTV has gone through, the challenges NTV Kenya has gone through in covering elections. That's right. And that should be done here.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. We also want to find out, with this Kenyan election right now, what's going to be its impact on the parliament of the East African region in Arusha?
The impact of Kenya, of course, the other members of parliament are elected by these national parliaments. Probably after these elections, I think we expect all the parliaments of the region to elect their representatives. Uganda is expected to elect theirs on the 29th next month. I have seen, what I know is that some of the other members of parliament of Kenya went back to contest to go back to the national parliament. I'm yet to find out those ones who have, whether they are those ones who have gone through and they are not supposed to go back to Iala. But what I know is that about 5 or 6 of them went back to campaign to go back to the national parliament, and hope they will be successful and get back to. But of course, the people in East Africa, in all these countries, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, and now DRC, if you ask the ordinary people, they will tell you, those ERA members of parliament, who elects them? Because they are not elected by the ordinary person on the street. Yes. They are elected by parliament, and it has been an opinion by the ordinary people. And I think an amendment has to be done to the East African Community Treaty to allow the citizens to
be a
elect
part.
their representative at the regional assembly.
All right, well, thank you so much, senior reporter Jingo Francis, for being a part of Postscript here on Morning at NTV. And we'll definitely be following up with you when it comes to the Yala elections that are coming through in a few months. As we continue with Morning at NTV, of course, you know, on Friday we focus on arts and culture. And so this morning we're going to be having an interesting dialogue, understanding the modern antiquities of Rastafarianism. That's Chris always likes to say the dreadlock people.
Rastafari.
Now, did you know that we have a member of parliament who's a Rastafarian, and that is Maurice John, a member of parliament, and that is Bubulo East. So he's going to be part of this conversation. And then also we have Rama Baba Ra, who is a reggae artist, and these two are sitting down with one of our junior journalists, and they're going to be giving us an insight into Rastafarianism. Please stay with us.
Wow.